AITAH for yelling at my little sister that I'm not her mum. Throw away because my main account has my coding stuff on it. Quick backstory, my 34F parents had me pretty young and we struggled a lot growing up. Dad was away a lot for work and my mum started drinking and she was pretty abusive. I was pretty much on my own for most of my life until I was 14 when my mum gave birth to my sister, now 20F. I'll call her Pam. Mum's drinking got worse and Dad was never around much because of work. He did a lot of construction jobs all over the state. I pretty much took care of my sister from the moment Mom brought her home from the hospital. I spent all of my teen years and many of my college years taking care of her. When I was 21, my dad got into a pretty nasty accident at work, the job site's fault, and he had to go on disability, and Mum's drinking slowed down with him home every day, and I finally felt comfortable to move out. Until then, though, I did everything for Pam. Not to mention most of the cleaning and cooking for the household because Mum was often too drunk. From diaper changing to homework help, I pretty much raised her. And honestly, by the time I left, I realized I was never going to want to have kids. We're still close. We talk on the phone every few days, sometimes every day. She doesn't really like that I'm married now and moved 2 towns over, but we still see each other every week. I've always felt very maternal towards her, but I want to reiterate, she is not my child, because the fight was about that. A couple days ago she called me and was already crying when I answered the phone. I was really concerned and I asked her what happened. I thought maybe she got dumped or something. She starts talking about betrayal and how could I do that to her and all that stuff, and I finally get her to calm down. That's when she comes out and says she knows that I'm actually her mum and that I just didn't want her, and that's why our mum raised her as my sibling. I kinda laughed because what in the VC, Andrew's right. But she was serious and she started crying again, and finally I yelled, "I'm not your mum. I'm just your sister," or something like that. And she screamed at me that I was a failure of a parent and hung up on me. I called her back, but she won't answer. I'm now NC with my mother because of the early childhood abuse parentification, and my dad passed away 2 years ago, so I can't just call him up and ask him to talk to Pam and find out what's going on. I did call my aunt Mum's sister, but she's never been that close to the family, and the last time she talked to Pam or my mum was last Christmas. Maybe I handled this all wrong? I shouldn't have laughed, I was just surprised. And the more she started telling me I was a bad parent, even though I'm not, and yet I still raised her, I got more and more upset. My husband said my reaction was normal, but my best friend said I could have been nicer. So, AITAH. Edit quick update. After dinner I sat down and read your replies, thank you. I thought about what you all said and that my sister might be going through a rough time, so I tried calling her again to apologize. Even if I wasn't entirely wrong, I know she's under pressure right now with school and work and whatnot. She didn't answer the phone, so I tried using my husband's cell and she picked up. I think she was screening her calls. Anyway, she didn't let me talk much. I told her again I wasn't her mum, but she doesn't believe me. The person who said my mum might have had something to do with this was right. Mum evidently told her my big family secret and that she was my kid. That's all I got out of her before she yelled at me and hung up. She's really upset, and I don't want to push her right now, so I'm going to give her a couple of days. I don't have access to birth certificates or anything, but I'll eventually stop by with some pictures of me from those years and Mum, who is obviously pregnant in them, and offer to do a DNA test. I don't know if that can be done, but maybe. Hopefully that will be the end of this. There weren't a ton of comments, but those of you who did comment, I thought you might want an update. And if not, at least I can rant about everything. First, my sister has completely calmed down. Her best friend Sarah took her out last night to watch a movie and get some dinner and just unwind. And while they were hanging out, Sarah talked to her about everything. Mostly pointing out that she had seen photos of our mum pregnant and me in the photo. Obviously she wasn't pregnant with me in those photos, so she had to be pregnant with Pam. So about midnight last night Pam called and apologized, and we talked for a while and had a good cry, and I thought everything was settled. I put it down to the fact that she's working part-time and taking summer classes, which are intense. This morning she called to see if I wanted to grab lunch, and she sounded kind of down, but I didn't think anything of it. We went to IHOP, and everything was normal again until she broke down crying towards the end of our meal. When I got her calmed down, a lot of people were nosy Nellies and watching us the entire time. She apologized several times about the thinking I'm her mum thing and started talking about what led up to it. I guess Mum is drinking heavier again. But more than that, she's pressuring Pam for money because she's disabled and can't work. And because Pam was giving her money constantly, she got behind in her own bills, which thankfully isn't much but is enough to stress her out, which led her to doing worse in school, and it cascaded. Then a week or so ago, when Pam finally told Mum she could no longer handle giving her money and paying rent on her room, Mum laid into her and said that Pam should be grateful that Mum took care of her when I abandoned Pam to go to college. Which, no, I did not. I only moved out into an apartment nearby, and I was 21, and I came over almost every night to spend time with Pam. I didn't move farther away until after I was married, and by that point Pam was a teenager. Anyway, she told Pam that she didn't have to take care of her because I was Pam's real mother, and that because she was such a good person she raised my baby, and so Pam should pay her for that. And even if any of that was true, which obviously it's not, I should be the one paying for that, not Pam. But Mum knows that I won't deal with her anymore with the whole NC thing, and Pam is still talking to her. So I've now convinced Pam it's a good idea to go NC with Mum, and if she needs anything, to call me or my husband. No matter what time of day, I okayed it with him. I also offered to pay for a few sessions of therapy. I can afford a couple of months for her at least. And am still trying to find a good children of AA group near us that we can go to. Hopefully closer to her than to me, so that she make friends with other people who grew up in our situation. Hopefully that is the end of all of this. I don't know when I can get Pam into therapy, hopefully not too far out, but that is our biggest concern. That, and staying NC with Mum. Thanks again for all the helpful advice, especially about calling her.